Hello, 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 and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. My name is Matt Miller, and I got a sweet new chair, with lumbar support too. Joining me today here at Updog Sports Talk is not just Justin McGovern, but we have intern Tones as well. What's going on, fellas?
Yo, how we doing?
We're happy to hear about your lumbar support.
Yeah, dude, it's fantastic. We are here to talk NFC East, the division that I don't think has. Well, Justin, can you correct me if I'm wrong? Was last year the first repeat winner in like 20
Was
years? If you can look that up for me while I go on my rant. I believe it was last year was the first year with like a repeat winner from the NFC East, which is in like
Nope. The Cowboys won in 2023.
Okay, the
Still
streak
is
is
not.
still alive. We have not ended that streak. It may end this year. Probably what I was thinking. But here at Updog Sports Talk, we like to stick up for the little guy. And we were watching the big media outlets just go on and on about the Lakers, LeBron, the Patriots with Tom Brady, the Buccaneers with Tom Brady, and that was about it. They didn't really talk about anything else. The Yankees, they didn't talk about the Bengals, the Bills. They talked about Michigan a little bit, but they didn't talk about like Cincinnati Bearcats football, or even they have not shown any excitement about the UTRGV Vaqueros. So that's when we decided to step in. And we created this channel so we can stick up for everybody. Yeah, we do have obligatory Cowboys talk, which will be in this episode. But we also want to shed light on teams like the Giants. So sit back, relax, and listen to us rant about the NFC East. So Justin, what better way to start a show than sticking up for the little guy and talking about the New York Football Giants?
I wouldn't call the Giants a little guy because no matter how bad they are, they get way too many primetime games every year.
They do.
That being said, last year was a rough year. Every time the Giants had a primetime game, you knew you were not going to watch the NFL that night. But that's all the negative I'm going to say, because you look at this team, and let's get started with their offseason moves here. The big move they made, they brought in some quarterbacks. They brought in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston to kind of give themselves some veteran experience and really get this QB position going. That was the one that stuck out to me. What do you guys think about their free agency moves?
One thing that really sticks out to me is they signed 3 receivers, and at this point, I'm not sure if any of them will really make the team. Zach Pascal, not bad, but it looks like he gets buried in this depth chart. Montrell Washington, I mean, is he gonna start? Probably not. And Lil Jordan Humphrey, I can see him sticking around. But it really comes into play on defense because they brought in Javon Holland. They brought in Roy Robertson Harris and a couple guys to kind of fill some gaps on defensive depth. Tony, does anything pop out at you about this roster? Is there anything like giant about them?
No, have either of you ever met a New York Giants fan in the wild?
I have, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them around.
Okay, all right. Well, then I guess it's just me.
They're not Jets fans. They're proud of their team.
Should they?
They have recent history to be proud of, unlike the Jets. That is now 5 consecutive teams where we managed to take a ricochet shot at the Jets. We're going to have to keep that going. Then we can pivot over to the draft, because I really think this is where the Giants shined. They managed to get an absolute steal in Abdul Carter to just add to this absurd pass rush they have. And then
Hold on, let's break this pass rush down, Justin. Not only do they bring in Abdul Carter, who's a man, who was the our number one prospect. I think a lot of people's number one prospect. They still have Kayvon Thibodeau, dog. They have Dexter Lawrence, dog. Brian Burns, dog. And they got some depth, but those are like they have like 5 pass rushers that are like all getting paid. So I mean, the question really isn't who's going to get the sacks. It's how are they going to put all of these guys on the field at once? Because that would be a scary pass rush.
Yeah.
An elite rotation. And, they really didn't have any departures or, really anyone leaving. So they're kind of just building on what they had the last year.
And
yeah, absolutely. And when you think of the Giants teams that won the Super Bowl, they did it on the back of a ferocious pass rush, and that's what they have here.
Osi Umenyiora, Michael Strahan,
the Gaps himself.
Yeah, 3 fingers. But like they've put a heavy focus on defense. They took Abdul Carter this year. They took Kayvon Thibodeau a couple years ago. They took Tyler Nubin, safety, a couple years ago, or last year. They took Deontay Banks 2 years ago. You can tell they're putting heavy emphasis on making sure that this defense holds together, probably because they knew that they didn't really have a whole lot going on at quarterback for a few years. So,
yeah, and Darius Alexander out Toledo in the 3rd round. I think that was a really good pick too, at defensive tackle.
Very underrated. Maybe not to the level of Quinion Mitchell, but like, I mean, potato kind of thing. He plays defensive tackle, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't that big of a prospect. He was just like a MAC player that was really good, so that's why he went in the 3rd round. If he was at Ohio State, he would have been a 1st round pick. But then Justin, the biggest steal of the draft?
Oh yeah, Cam Scatterboo.
Yes, and they got. So I had to watch like a 5-minute video today of like the Big 12 of Cam Scatterboo specifically running over the Big 12, and of course they decided to put UC getting run over first. But it reminded me, Cam Scatterboo taken 4th round. Can you believe that? 2nd best running back in the country, and he's taken 4th round.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that he went that far down. I know, maybe the speed didn't go off the charts or anything, but he's purely a really good football player, and this is a team that needed a running back.
He's a 1998 VTEC Honda Type R engine. It may not get you much, but it's going to run high.
And he contributes out of the backfield, too. He can catch passes.
Yeah, he does. He can do a lot. They still have Devin Singletary, and they have Tyrone Tracy, who came on the scene last year. I think they have a nice running back room, very underrated. A lot of guys who were kind of overlooked. But you know how deep their quarterback room is? You alluded to Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. They took Jackson Dart late in the 1st round. They still have Tommy DeVito. And somebody's got to go.
I fear that old Cutlets is gonna get the shaft on this one.
But I mean, maybe it's famous Jameis Crab Legs Winston. That's about.
Now, once you bring in Crab Legs, you can't get rid of him.
But I mean, Russell Wilson was named QB1 today. So like Russell Wilson. Sorry to interrupt you.
Are you good?
But Russell Wilson has proven that he can take teams to the playoffs. He took that awful Steelers offense last year to the playoffs. So, I mean, like, I'm interested to see what he can do in the Giants. And remember, Sierra lives in New York. It was rumored that he was going to go to New York even before he got traded to Denver. Like, people were like, oh, he's going to go to New York because Sierra, he wants to go there. Now he's where he wants to be. I think I think he's going to get comfortable there. And they're missing Andrew Thomas for a little bit of time. We'll see if he comes off PUP before the beginning of the season. But they got John Runyon from Green Bay. They're a little light in the middle, but you can see that they're making moves to try to get this offensive line to work. Tony, I interrupted you before. What was your thought?
I think the biggest benefit of Crab Legs Winston is the locker room presence.
Oh, 100%.
He is a G. You hear him going on and just defending players, defending, coaches. He's a team player to the max.
Some players have said that when he starts talking, you never know where that sentence is going to go.
I believe it. I think we've seen
100%. Oh yeah, we've seen that from the start. As soon as that guy came on the scene, he came into college at a very interesting time, like when social media was really hitting its point where it blew up. Like him and Johnny Manziel really saw that go on, where their lives became more public than what college players were used to. So his personality got developed to that point. He finally hit a point where he's just like, I don't care what anyone thinks, and we're all better for it.
Yes, 100%.
Once he got them eyes fixed.
Yep. Although I wouldn't be mad if he does get cut if he goes to New Orleans. I think they need a quarterback also for this season at least.
Yeah. Still the legendary 30-30 season. 30 touchdowns, 30
But
picks.
you have to remember he also had like 5,000 passing yards and threw like 50 or 60 times a game. So I mean his ratio really wasn't that bad. I think overall the Giants are improving. I think they can make some noise this season if their starters stay healthy. I want to see them make more moves with receivers because I don't think Jalen Hyatt is there yet. And Wan'Dale Robinson has injury issues. Maybe that's why they brought in Zach Pascal. But I mean, who's the guy the Bills just had a couple seasons ago?
I didn't know what direction you were trying to go with this.
He was their number 2 when Diggs was there, and he kept catching like deep passes.
Gabe Davis?
Gabe Davis, thank you. I think Gabe Davis would have been perfect for this offense.
Wouldn't he be a Darius Slayton?
Yeah, but Darius Slayton also plays a slot really well and can play like drag routes, sing routes, go a little further down the field, give him like 10, 15-yard ends. And Gabe Davis, you could just be like, run deep.
Yeah, and Gabe Davis does know the offense. Obviously, he was in Buffalo with Dayball, and really his Buffalo time kind of went downhill once Dayball left. So you could see where the familiarity could really make this a prospective move.
Yes. Although Dayball, I would have him as one of the hottest seats in the NFL.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was a coach in the Canadian Football League. Interesting fun fact for you. But, yeah, you have to...
Wikipedia pulled up?
Maybe.
Sources unconfirmed.
I just wanted to see when he got in the seat and then how hot it would be at this juncture.
Yeah, I mean, Dable, he's a brilliant offensive mind. But it's hard to thrive in New York. And when he took over, he wasn't given much. And really hasn't been given much his entire tenure. So I think that's why he's really stuck around, because the higher-ups are like, look, we know we haven't given you anything, and that's not your fault. So that's why you get to stick around. I do think that he has a lot of respect in not just this organization, but around the league. I think he carries a lot of respect. So he may be on the hottest seat out there, but this team can surprise people right now.
Yeah, it'll all come down to that relationship between Dayball and Wilson. Are we going to see them bickering back and forth on the sideline, or are they going to be in sync? Because if they're in sync, then maybe you could see this offense kind of moving a little.
Yep. I think that's enough of the bottom feeders. What do you think?
Well, we go to obligatory Dallas Cowboys talk. So let's take a look here at their offseason moves a little bit. Their free agency. Remember last offseason, we made fun of them because they said they were all in and I believe they only added like one person. This offseason, they did a little bit more. They added some people. I think I'll lead this off with my question here. George Pickens, they got him via trade. Do you think what do you think about this pickup?
I like it in the eyes of the Cowboys needed a number 2 receiver. Before
Agreed.
they got Pickens, Jonathan Mingo was their number 2. An unproven receiver that one of the worst teams in the league decided not to keep. So, like, I like the move bringing in Pickens in terms of a talent aspect. But man, can that guy bring your locker room down.
Remember when they had Brandon Cooks for a spell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder what he's doing these days.
He's in New Orleans again.
Yeah, we hit that tour earlier in the series where we found out he managed to land back in New Orleans again.
Justin, we were on the phone earlier today, off air. Do you remember what you told me?
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about what his presence means in the locker room, for sure. That is where I could see this thing going in a bad direction. You're taking a huge chance on him, and remember, this is a former Steelers receiver that was a little bit of a headache in the Steelers, and we've seen what happens to those guys once they leave the Steelers.
You know how
I'll
far
give you a
this
hint.
goes back?
It doesn't get better.
You know how far this goes back?
What? San Antonio Holmes?
I mean, after the Super Bowl, San Antonio Holmes. But I mean, guys that I think of, Mike Wallace. When he went down to Miami, he ended up like not doing anything, and then was complaining the entire time he wasn't getting the ball. Then you had AB. Then you had Juju. Then you had what's his name? Traded for a can of dirt at in Chicago.
He's also down in Miami now, or he was.
Oh, Chase Claypool.
Yes.
He held value in the league because of a 2-game stretch he had.
Yeah. And then it's now it's George Pickens. It's like I wanted to like George Pickens when he came into the league, but like you saw at the end of year 1, beginning of year 2, why he fell in the draft. That character concern came out. I think
we really saw it last year to end the season against the Bengals, where I think his contributions in that game were like 3 drop passes and about 5 penalties.
Yeah. And like
I'm probably exaggerating on those numbers a little bit, but you get the point.
Not by much. But I mean, like, you can see what Jerry Jones is trying to do. Like, taking personality completely out of it for a second, you have one of the most talented receivers in CeeDee Lamb. You have a guy who was top 15 at his position a couple years ago in George Pickens. You know who else they got, Justin and Tony?
Who else?
They loaded up on running backs. They brought in Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Don't
forget Deuce Vaughn.
Well, he's been there, but yeah, the deuce is loose. I think Jerry is looking at this offense and is like, we can't have this offense sputter out again. I'm going to spend some money. Brought in Paris Campbell. Say what you want about him. His name still carries a little bit of weight. Brought in some offensive linemen. Drafted some offensive players. But defensively, switching to the defense real quick, this is where they kind of nailed free agency. They brought in Dante Fowler Jr. I didn't realize this until like a couple of weeks ago, but they got Kenneth Murray, and I was hoping the Bengals would have gotten Kenneth Murray. And then they got Kyer Elam. Justin, do you like Kyer Elam? Do you miss him?
No, I don't miss him at all. My last memory was my heartbreaking as the Chiefs just tore him apart in about every single play. But you could see where they took some chances here on some high potential guys who haven't quite panned out at other destinations. You know, Kenneth Murray, again, he has a lot of potential. He's been, I think this is his 3rd stop. Hasn't found it yet, but maybe this could be the place. Kyer Elam, maybe he just needed a new destination to figure it out. So you can see where they're kind of betting on the upside. They didn't have a ton of caps, so this is kind of the approach that they had to take here. Yeah, but looking at the draft, I think we can pivot to the draft unless, Tony, if you have any other thoughts on free agency.
No, the Pickens, because he was stirring up stuff within a few weeks of him being there. So yeah. We'll see how that all shakes out.
Who was involved?
I think Pickens.
Checks out.
I mean, the caption on the video said, like, the George Pickens effect. I didn't see exactly who it was, but there was an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. There was just a big man that came in and just flattened that guy. So if it was George Pickens, I feel like that that got handled right away. Did you realize, Tony, that the Cowboys are loading up on Tyler's?
You know, I didn't. Maybe that's a prerequisite.
Yeah, maybe. Tyler Guyton, they got last year in the first round. Tyler Smith, they got back in 2022. They got Tyler Booker now.
So if you're doing the math on that one, that is 3 of the last 4 drafts, they drafted an offensive lineman named Tyler.
Keep that in mind. Sure they were the only offensive lineman named Tyler.
At least first round worthy.
What I also like is Joe Milton coming here. I think Joe Milton is like an underrated talent. I liked what I had to see from him in New England in at least the preseason. So if Dak goes down, they have another cannon arm back there. But
cannon arm is definitely what he has.
Can he throw it out of the stadium? Yes. Will it get to where it needs to go? Maybe.
He will throw it the same force no matter how far they are, whether it's 5 yards or 70 yards.
What's really funny? You know what's really funny? Dak's fall from grace. At one point...
Now we're getting to the juicy bit.
At one point...
Here we go.
Dak Prescott was labeled as probably one of the top 7 quarterbacks in the NFL. I haven't seen his name in the top 15.
Nah, the leagues wrote him off.
The year that Lamar Jackson won the MVP, you know who had the best numbers in the league?
Dak
Prescott. Dak Prescott probably could have won MVP that year, and he's done nothing. Like all he's done is got hurt and sits.
Well, to be fair, he did get hurt this past year, so he didn't really get a chance to contribute that much.
And he got hurt. Well, he got hurt at the end of the year before, I think, or in the middle of it for a couple games.
I think that's right.
I think
hamstring injuries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the whole offseason, but who's to say? Those things are nagging, you know?
Yeah. Outside of that, you know what else I noticed about this roster? A lot of hurt players. We got 4 solid players on defense that are out. They're on the PUP list.
Yeah, which some of them make sense. You know, I think Siobhan Ravel, he was drafted. I think he'll end up coming back pretty decently early in the year. Obviously coming off a torn ACL at East Carolina. He was someone that I really liked as like a steal at some point. I don't know what he's going to get to contribute to the team this year.
No. They did take a good talent with him, but, I mean... Yeah, I mean, they have Diggs in front of them, but Diggs is on the PUP list. Overshown's on the PUP list.
We also need to talk about Micah Parsons and his situation. He's currently not happy, and his price tag continues to go up. And I think the Bengals have been getting a lot of noise around this lately, but I'll tell you what, the same thing is happening here in Dallas. They are he is getting more and more frustrated with them.
Both are run by old dudes who love their money.
Who are also the GM.
Yeah. That we can't ignore that. We can't ignore that.
Micah Parsons, I can see getting more money than Trey Hendrickson no matter when the contract comes, just because he doesn't just play defensive end. They move him to inside linebacker, outside linebacker. They drop him into coverage. They blitz him. He can do it all. Like, I think this guy deserves to get a lot of money, and unfortunately, I think he's going to go to a team that I don't like if he doesn't stay with the Cowboys. And Jerry Jones, you need to open up your wallet a little bit and pay this guy, because unless you want to go back to the Quincy Carter days, like, he's your guy. He's the face of the franchise right now. Not Dak, not CD. Micah Parsons is. Don't let him go.
This is the guy you need to make happy right now, because if he holds out, I obviously it's a dramatic scenario for him to hold out the whole year, but if he were to, you can see where this season goes in the tank pretty quickly. Like, that is your guy that you need to make sure is happy, 100%.
Yeah. I think that this team isn't going to be as good as the years past. Fully healthy or not, I don't think this team is as good as it was. I think they missed their window.
Yeah, it seems like they're falling off. They're kind of sliding.
And you're reaching a point in Dak's career where he's probably not going to get any better. I think the ship has sailed on him getting better.
Yeah, it's those injuries that really worry me with him. Like, can he get through the whole year healthy? You're looking at an offensive line that we obviously made a lot of jokes about the Tylers, but I mean, you just lost one of your best guys retiring.
Not just best guys, one of their best guys in franchise history.
Yeah.
And Zach Martin. Quietly retired, not talked about at all.
Yeah, that's not talked about enough. Like, he was one of the best guards in the NFL for his entire career.
That would be
you just lost that.
Not to like keep bringing up Notre Dame guys, but like Quentin Nelson. If he just randomly retired from the Colts, that would be big news. And for some reason, Zach Martin retiring, not big news. Tyron Smith dealt with injuries, retired, not big news. I don't know why offensive linemen aren't given the love that they deserve, but like,
no love for the big guys, dude.
No. And like they did get Tyler Booker, but like first round offensive linemen still struggle in their rookie year. Like, you're not gonna have a guy like, they just came out with the offensive lineman award. You're not gonna have him on that list for best offensive lineman. Not this year.
Yeah, and this is already a weird offseason to begin with. Like, don't forget they didn't bring back Mike McCarthy because the quotes they gave, they were like, well, you know, we talked about the team this offseason and everything, and the idea of the contract didn't come up, so we just didn't redo it. Like, it was the weirdest situation, and then they end up with Brian Schottenheimer as their head coach now.
Now, when you bring up the name Schottenheimer, it carries a ton of weight in the NFL. That family has gone way back, I think, into the 20s in football. And Brian probably could have used a couple of years of tutelage under some coach. I would probably say Andy Reid would have been best, but it's your time to shine. You got the keys to the car. So, yeah. That's enough obligatory Cowboy talk. I think we can move on to the next team.
The Washington Commanders.
All right, well, I was going to kind of go on a little thing there, but thanks, Justin. The Washington Commanders are like that young team that you just know is going to compete for years. Now, there have been a lot of petitions to bring back their former name.
Who was that petitioned it?
I
can't recall.
White people?
The President of the United States.
Yeah. But the Commanders' ownership is now in the driver's seat. They are on board with this whole thing. They want to be driving that car, driving that ship. They just pumped a bunch of money into a locker room that will actually get torn down in a couple of years, but they went from an F to an A like overnight with locker room.
But just to be clear, they're pumping all the money into their roster and investing in their players, not the other thing, not the name change.
No, that would be $1 billion makeover, and they're trying to use that $1 billion to build a new stadium. But I really like the Washington Commanders, what they got going. I mean, they've nailed the draft the past few years. Dan Quinn he wasn't really given a big chance in Atlanta. Like it just kind of fell apart on him in Atlanta. I think taking a year back in Dallas, a defensive coordinator, kind of recollecting, and then moving over to Washington, I think was the best thing for his career. And I think also Cliff Kingsbury is gonna like stick around for a little bit. I think he realized that maybe writing checks or not writing checks, but like doing like what you would think a manager would do. I don't think he likes that. I think he just likes coming up with a playbook, calling plays, and telling people like, "Hey, run this route real quick." But they brought in so many people. Like offhand, it's like 15 guys that they brought in: Debo Samuel, Michael Gallup, Laramie Tunsil, Javon Kinlaw, Von Miller, Jonathan Jones, Will Harris. Like, they've brought in a bunch of guys to contribute to this team. And I think that, I mean, we could probably start talking Super Bowl window with them. What do you guys think?
How often does a rookie quarterback repeat and build on what they did the year before?
Hardly ever.
When the teams have the tapes, and now, granted, he's approached it, Jaden Daniels has approached it a little differently using, VR as a training tool. So, we can't discount what that may have, kind of prepared him for this season as well. I think bringing in Debo was big. Speaking of big, the Scary Terry. What's going to happen there? He's wanting to be one of the top paid wide receivers, and after a season like last year, it's hard to say that he doesn't deserve some money. I don't know that he deserves to be up there, fully, but after the clowns that he had the ball thrown to him, it's definitely an upgrade, and we saw him produce.
Yeah, I think with that whole situation is like ownership wants to pay him. They just brought in a lot of people. They brought in some big salaries. Kinlaw, Von Miller, Laramie Tunsil, Debo. Like, those aren't cheap guys. So, and they're trying to win a Super Bowl soon. Like, they're trying to get Washington back on the map and get Washington fans and the whole, DMV area. They're trying to get that whole area excited about football again, because they spent the majority of the last 30 years crying tears of like just pitiful sadness. And like, whatever happens with Scary Terry, they at least have a solid guy in Debo. If Terry decides he wants out, if he wants to sit out, if he just wants to collect a paycheck and run lazy routes, they got Debo, they got Luke McCaffrey, they got Noah Brown, Michael Gallup, Chris Moore from Cincinnati, they just got Jalen Lane, Mike Strachan. Like, they're real deep. Jacoby Jones, KJ Osborne, they're super deep at receiver. Like, top to bottom, this may be one of the best receiving groups in the NFL. Now, they don't have the elite guys like the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons of the world, but Terry McLaurin, very solid.
I feel like they definitely overlooked this, that he would want a contract extension when throwing cash around elsewhere. Now he's like, hey, you've got all this money to throw around, so where's mine? And all of a sudden we're getting late in the offseason here, and they found themselves in a bit of a pickle with this situation. That could be one of the things that kind of halts this momentum. So that'll definitely be a big question mark. But I think we can even look at the draft though, and I think they did a good job here addressing the offensive line in the first round, bringing in a corner in Trey Amos that some people thought could go in the first round. So you could see where they made some pretty good moves here to kind of help this roster out a little bit.
Yeah, so like they got to compete with the Eagles. The Eagles are clear-cut favorites not just in the division, but in all of the NFL. They had to dish out a lot of money. They're coming up with plans for like a $4 billion stadium. They're raising what was it, FedEx Field or RFK Stadium, one of the other one that they're not using, and they're going to build like a $4 billion stadium there, just complete state of the art. And so you can see the winds of change blowing hard in Washington D.C. One thing that I kind of wish they would have done, but I understand why they didn't bring him back, is Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen just like walked out of the building, and I mean that guy was half your defense. Not just because he was big, but like because he was really talented too. But I can put them in a Super Bowl window right.
Yeah, I think so that kind of leads to the big question mark here is like, is the defense going to be good enough? That's going to be one of the big things we need to figure out. Like, they have some good pass rushers, but is the pass rush going to be good enough to get home in those big games, in the playoffs, against the Eagles or against the Lions or anyone like that? Like, is it going to be able to do that? And then you look at the secondary. I mean, they've made some moves to kind of help address it. Marshawn Lattimore has actually been with the team for a whole offseason now, so I can expect that to make a bigger impact. But the secondary still is a work in progress, I would say. So that's kind of the big question mark for me is like, how are they going to look at defense? It definitely is not one that looks dominant to me. If I'm picking which side I'm more concerned about the defense than the offense.
Especially with the type of run teams that are now in the NFC East, you know. Saquon, of course. But, you know, Dallas is every running back known to man, you know, so they're gonna have some fresh legs, you know. You wear a defense down and suddenly you're making big breakaways. So, you know, it could come back to bite them a little bit.
What I do like is that the Commanders are bringing back their old team's style uniforms for an away game this year. So, like, I think that's pretty cool. I think they're paying homage to the past but keeping their current logos. I would like to see that style make more of a comeback because I think those uniforms, change the logo if you want, but like the uniforms in general were some of the best the NFL's ever seen.
Change your name to the Wild Hogs. That was still the best name.
Change your name to the Washington gas station employees for all I cared. Keep the uniforms. But I think Washington, they have a really good coach. They have a really good offense coordinator. Those two are on the same page as their quarterback, a young quarterback going into his second year. We'll see if he has a sophomore slump. C.J. Stroud hit his slump last year. I don't see the same slump coming from Daniels. He may not have the as good of a season that he did last year, but I still think he's going to be very productive. I don't think it's going to be as big of a drop as C.J. Stroud had. Not saying that it was C.J. Stroud's fault. There was a lot going on with the Texans. We kind of already covered a lot of that. But I just don't see the same situation happening for Jaden Daniels. I think new ownership wants to lift him up and make him, like, put his name in the conversation with Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts and whoever else you want to put up there. I think they finally have an entire building of people who want to win, not just make money. So
yeah, absolutely.
And the best part, they're fun to watch.
Yeah,
last season.
Fun. Well, except for the conference championship game when they lost 55-23.
That game got so ugly so fast. But yeah, I mean, you see that with Jaden Daniels, like, you could see this guy kind of has a good it factor to him.
Yeah,
there's just something about him that's clutch, and you feel like he's just going to keep getting better. So it'll be an interesting team to watch.
Yes. Moving on to your defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, what's there to say about the Philadelphia Eagles other than, like, They got the best roster. They got the best running back. Say what you want about Jalen Hurts, but he is pretty good. They did lose Becton, but they addressed a lot of backups this offseason. In free agency, they just on the offensive line, they brought in Kendall Lamb from Miami, Kenyon Green from Houston, Matt Prayer. They drafted Drew Kendall and Miles Hinton. Those were kind of later in the draft, but I mean, you're not really trying to get the best offensive lineman who wouldn't play. They still have a solid offensive line. They have one of the best receiver duos. Add Jahan Dotson, maybe trio, in the NFL. Their defense is back. They only lost backups, it felt like. The only person listed as injured right now is Nakobe Dean. And even behind him, you just drafted Jihad Campbell. So even if Dean can't play, you got a guy to step in right away. They have Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Zach Bond, Nolan Smith, half the Georgia defense from 2022. I mean, their window's wide open right now. I don't know what else to say about them.
Yeah, you can see their offseason. They very much focused on roster retention, which why wouldn't you? You just prove that no one else is better, so why not try to keep those guys around? They kept as many as they possibly could. I know some guys it wasn't entirely possible. They lost a few guys. I think Bryce Huff and Milton Williams are a few rotational guys on the defensive line that I can think of off the top of my head that are gone. But for the most part, they kept
Retired.
Brandon Graham, yeah, retired. But for the most part, like you could see where they kept all of their key players here because they're making another run at this thing. They're not just here to rise up and win one Super Bowl. No, they're trying to be the NFC's dynasty now.
They're trying to bring in multiple trophies. Like, they took down Tom Brady. They got a little bit of the Tom Brady poison. They're going for it all again. Their window's wide open. They just got elite secondary written all over them, drafted in the last 3 years. Pretty much almost.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Actually, all their defense was drafted in the last 3 years.
And they nailed the draft. They nailed it with these 100%. Guys. Quinyon Mitchell was overlooked by some teams because he was from Toledo. Became one of the best corners in the NFL instantly. Cooper DeJean from Iowa was someone that I thought was really good. He got underrated by the NFL. He ends up being a steal. Keely Ringo kind of surprisingly dropped, and he proved to be a huge contributor for them. You can just see throughout this defense where they just absolutely crushed the draft. And as a result now, they have this really young defense that just harassed Mahomes for an entire Super Bowl, and now a lot of those guys are back.
Yeah, they had, Jordan Davis. They have Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. They just got Agbo Okoronkwo from Cleveland.
Good effort on that one.
I got it right once.
It's a hard one.
They brought in A.J. Dillon to back up Saquon, so, like, the conspiracy theorist part of me kind of wants to be like, oh, like, the league's setting up Saquon to sit out this year for an injury. But, like, they got Will Shipley. They got deep running backs. They got deep receivers. They're deep everywhere. I don't know what else. This is what you build in Madden. Like, if you decide to go through the draft in Madden, this is what you build in Madden.
In the way that they approached the draft and even following the Super Bowl, it reminds me a lot of the Chiefs, how they approached the draft and, bolstering what they needed to, but doubling down on what they already had and improving in places that they maybe didn't necessarily need to. I think, Saquon has still got the league on a stranglehold. Him and AJ Dillon now comparing quads and which one's Quadzilla. Love that for them.
Yes.
But I mean, offensively, super solid. As solid as you'll find.
Yeah. And defensively. I mean, they nailed this draft again, Justin and Tony. Like Justin, you brought up the draft earlier, we went through the starters. Jihad Campbell in the first round, Andrew Mkuba in the second round. They went. I don't think they didn't have a third round pick, but they got Ty Robinson in the fourth round, and then the rest of the guys are kind of just there. But like, they filled everything. There's nothing left for them to do. Like, and now it's like, just don't get hurt and let's run through the league again. Like, let's see if we can go 17-0, set a record, and give the league the middle finger. You know.
The Eagles and Chiefs are playing chess right now, and the rest of the league is playing checkers.
Yep.
Playing catch up.
Yeah. I mean, they have. I mean, they're betting favorites again. I think. Like, if you don't put money on the Eagles, then
what are you doing with it?
Yeah. They even drafted Kyle McCord. Like,
yeah.
Syracuse legend.
Kyle McCord could end up being their backup this year. Like, Tanner McGee is their competition there. Like,
and DTR.
You know, in case of an emergency, you could have good old, safe, reliable Honda McCord.
Well, I guess that kind of leads us into division picks. Tony, who do you think's winning the division? What order do you think it's going to finish in?
Eagles, Washington, Dallas, Giants.
Justin, you want me to go next, or do you want to go next?
Matt, you go next.
Okay, I'm going to go... I lied, Justin. I'm not going to do the order I said earlier. I'm still going to go Eagles, Washington, Giants, Cowboys.
Risky. Risky.
I think we talked about this off camera, so it was like, which one was going to be the first of us to pull the trigger on that? And, well, I'm going with you on that one, Matt. I got Eagles. I had the Commanders finishing in second. I have the Giants in third. And I'm sorry, Dallas. I just don't like what you have on the roster. I'm very worried about the Cowboys roster. That being said, this division is very much improved this year, so I could still see all four teams potentially having a winning record.
Remember a couple
but I have
years
the Giants
ago,
in third and Cowboys.
Remember a couple years ago, the AFC North, when the Bengals finished last with like a 9-8 record, or 10 or
that was just 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's this division this year. I don't think any team is gonna. I mean, maybe that Dallas ends up with maybe the Dallas and Giants both end up with like a losing record, but I don't think it's by much. I don't think any of these teams are picking in the top 10 either. Top 15, maybe pushing it too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unless the only team I could see potentially picking there is if like Dallas has a complete meltdown, or if Russell Wilson and Brian Daboll don't get along or something like that. But otherwise, okay, the next question is, how many playoff teams out of this division?
I think 2 as well.
I'm going
the first 2 I named.
Oh, 1.
I'm going 1. I'm just going with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think
going
they kind of
1.
I think they beat each other up a little bit. I think the NFC North, the NFC West kind of puts too many of those other teams in there to provide too much competition. And as a result, that leaves the Commanders and the Giants just sitting on the outside of the playoffs.
I mean, at least we all have the Eagles winning and snapping the 20-something year streak.
I would be floored if that streak continued after this year. The Eagles are just heads and shoulders above everyone else right now.
Just like Becton and Graham were just big losses, and all of a sudden somehow the Commanders are that much better.
And their Super Bowl rings super tight.
Yeah. And their city only burned for a little bit, so
Yeah.
I think we just covered the NFC East, guys. I think that was a good show. I think this is a historic division. I mean, you have 4 teams, all with history, all beat each other up. One of the most physical divisions in the NFL, and now we have them as one of the best. So, thank you for watching our NFC East video. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, say what you want about this division. If you want to say the Cowboys suck, if you want to say that we're completely wrong about the Eagles going back to back,
Or if we're completely wrong about the Cowboys, let us know that too.
Yeah, I mean,
We know you will.
we love we love to see hate comments also. Just
Well, Matt, don't encourage.
Be careful what you wish for.
This is YouTube after all. They're not afraid in this comment section.
The internet is undefeated.
it is undefeated. So comment away about your Cowboys. We will love to hear it. Some of them may end up on our Twitter account.
Now, of course, try to hit us with facts on why you think the Cowboys will be better, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, you got to come with it. You can't just be like, "Hey, like you guys are wrong." Like, what? Tell us why we're wrong. We are on all social media, the popular ones at least. X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Reddit. Yeah, follow us everywhere. Wherever you get your podcasts, usually there's a slight delay on that. Yeah, we're there too. We'll catch you guys next time. For the time being, we are sprinkling in college football alongside our NFL videos. We will go back to live in the fall, and we will see you guys in the next video. See ya.